Yeah, I understand. I mean, do a lot of people relate to that? Feeling a body inside of capitalism, but also the the desire to create is unyielding. About this thesis that's been brewing, and I've been working on it for almost 6 months. It's something that in my body of work, it houses the relationship of the body to creativity. One, I always say this, that the idea that creativity is not hosted, excuse me, creativity is not chased. It's hosted. Creativity being chased or pursued is fear-based. To Rowan's point that creativity being something that we must chase with urgency, out of fear, comes from many things. One of them being capitalism, I would wager. The idea that creativity is hosted has a lot of precedent in the ancient wisdom, in the most durable wisdom, in the sacred texts, reminding all of us, myself included, that human beings um, have always lived under extraordinary duress. Find me an artist that lives in perfect conditions. The perfect conditions as we consider them being those that are named and rewarded by the capitalist system. For example, perfect conditions, the best degree, all of the money, all of the support, health. These are all things that are, from my vantage point, rewarded in the system that makes us slaves of a market. For example, if you are grieving, you are not a valuable worker. You know what I mean? If you are sick, you're not a valuable worker. If you're sad, if you're depressed, you're invaluable to the system of capitalism. So much so that if we grieve, if we're heartbroken, if we're sick, we think, I remember it. In a really aggressive, well, there's a lot of us here today. In really aggressive fashion, I recall when, yeah, going through incredible grief and then feeling legitimately, man, there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong. I always say that. Heartbreak, man, I can't write because I'm sad. I'm thinking about that person. I'm sick. There's something wrong with me. Um, and I am trying to leverage the body as it's discussed in the ancient and the old traditions, not so much the way that it's discussed today, to be very frank. And I have to tread carefully. Um, but there's something going on, I believe, about the way that we discuss the body, for example, nervous system regulation, health, that is still tethered to this idea. As artists, there's this, the body is still discussed as something separate from creativity. Let me see if I can land my point that the body, the objective in all the popular discourse is that you have to settle your nervous system. You feel all uptight, stressed, anxious, your body's inflamed. What do you need to do? Settle your nervous system. That's the most sophisticated among us know to stop and settle the nervous system. That's the cutting edge. But in my own practice as an artist, I have to interrogate that a little bit further, especially these days, because shit is moving and changing. One, none of us are broken. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. In relation to the body, you are not sick. Am I trying to gaslight you and say, get over it, ice bath, white boy podcast, bro, just eat raw venison and get over it, and there's nothing wrong with you? Not even close. Not even close. But that you are, there is nothing wrong with you, even if you live in a system that gives you a disease, if you live in conditions that make you sick, that even if you are sick, you are still well. That's a tough one. how do I leverage that thesis beyond just it being a truism? And it's a truism. If it's left at the level of truism, I believe that gets us into the problem area that we have a lot, where again, you're being gaslit, like, oh no, like just think it, don't speak that over yourself. I'm not that girl. The body, I believe, is always working on our behalf. That if you are sick, there are inflammation markers, there are systems, infinite systems, infinitely more intricate and sophisticated than the systems of the mind, that are always here to help you mitigate, recover, bounce back, understand, process, no matter what happens. Okay, boom, what's happening today? You're doing okay on Tuesday. Wednesday, what happened? Your mom died. Oh, shit. Okay. Body's like, all right. The body's not like, we wish that wouldn't have happened. Now we're going to send you all this pain because your mom should not have died and you should not be sad. You had that abusive childhood. And so now your psoas is jacked. Why? To punish you? No. That the more I dig into this thesis and research and talk to people and survey my own experience, for example, just as an example, and Savvy, please help me out. Savannah is one of our resident body people, although I'm sure there's more. That the body has infinite systems in it to help us withstand what's happening to us. We sometimes experience that as pain, tightness, inflammation, stiffness, sickness of whatever kind. But the body is doing that to help you. Only in the mind does the narrative that you are being punished, that there's something wrong with you, something morally wrong with you that needs to be punished or put on the outside, out to pasture on a timeout, so to speak. That narrative only comes from the mind. For example, help me with my language, Savannah, if you have the energy, if you're up for it. But that the body, for example, the diaphragm, stiffens in some way, locks itself up when you're all uptight, can't take a deep breath, to help you withstand the emotional experience. There's many emotional experiences that the diaphragm supports, but the diaphragm locks to help you, to protect you from the experience of disappointing somebody. So there's going to say, oh yeah, you're a people pleaser. You're afraid of pissing people off. And so then let me go heal that. There's something wrong with me. No, the diaphragm is like, oh shit, somebody you just pissed somebody off and that person is treating you unkindly, unfairly. You don't like that. That's not a safe condition for you. Diaphragm locks. Does that make sense? Further, this is me kind of going off script a little bit scientifically and just going from my gut and my experience and the kind of pulling from my philosophical side of my brain, spiritual side of myself. And as a responsible guide, I feel like it's important to mention, just to suggest, remind us that we are descended from people who got their asses kicked. Like, survived under extraordinary conditions, that the most durable, significant imprint within our epigenetic memory is survival under extraordinary conditions. And to rigorously, to the point, risking offending somebody, which I will take responsibility for if I do that. This idea that we must be these perfect market, consumer, worker people with with getting an A plus in the self-help health industrial complex grading system. The idea that an artist has ever been that is fake news. It's propaganda. Dare I say demonic? Dare I say? Find me an artist. Find me an artist. Not somebody who won the Pulitzer necessarily, or got the artist residency, or someone who's wealthy because of art. But find me an artist who did not get their ass kicked, have to go sit down, cry to the point of paralysis, to the point of ruining friendships, lives, and careers, and come out with a poem. You know what I mean? And that what we're going to get into next week, at least in summer school. So I'm happy if it bleeds all throughout different, groups within my community here. In summer school, the next class is going to be about the body of work. Oh, Des, another body person. That we need to recover these days. In this landscape, the importance of the body in relation to our creativity, that your body is designed for creativity. That is the primary function. At the same time, here you are, having all these inputs that are not wrong, they're well-intended, especially if they come from the people. Well-intended, but still the narrative, from my vantage point, is that your body can help you heal yourself. You have the power to heal. True. But I think that we need to be careful with that, because you're not broken, even if you're sick. Ask me about the wisdom, the kindness, the grace that I got from my wildly sick mother. If I didn't learn something, if she herself did not learn something from those conditions, but that we are conditioned into thinking in the most progressive front of this conversation, that the body is about, you can heal yourself. The body is either sick or healthy. True. But the body's function is to help you create. It's not to help you heal your inflammation. It's not there to help you heal inflammation. The body wants you to create. That your joints are not there to help you connect one bone to the other. The joints are not there to help you be flexible. Flexibility is something that is a process within the body that aids creativity. Does that make sense? Is that too alien? Does that sound weird? Does it sound controversial? How do we
Not at
feel?
all. It sounds it's so foundational that when it's spoken out loud, it aligns things back. And I think of like Vincent van Gogh, and I think of, these artists and these creatives and these creators who have been through so much, didn't even get the opportunity to see the ripple effect that their work was going to create in the world,
Man,
but that they were completely clueless to that,
clueless.
and that you might spend your whole life being clueless to that,
You
but
might.
that's not that's not what you're here to do. You're just here to create.
That's right. I don't know. Did James Baldwin win a Pulitzer? Let's pretend he did. When he was alive, got all the awards. But who's to say that the Pulitzer was the pinnacle of his impact? I the way that I have there's parts of his work that have impacted my life. I'm on the short list. Like, no, 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 no. And he's not he and I will never meet. You cannot know the impact of your work. But I it is not for no reason that every single sacred spiritual tradition in the history of the universe in the history of the universe, or at least our Earth, is here to remind us over and over again, the body, the body, the Yoga Sutras, don't get me started on Catholicism in the body. This is the body of Christ. The body. Take care of your body. The body is a super technology of what? Surviving pain? No. We have more dignity than that. Of creation. The body is here to facilitate creativity. For example, that the joints, I learned this in a retreat. I was at a retreat in Mexico in February, and I thought it was going to be like, for me, I thought it was going to be my MO of like, okay, yeah, lock in, you know? And I thought Pilates, I was going to get skinny and all these things. It's like the goal of my life. It hasn't happened yet. Desi, help me. No, and here we are, this master body worker, a Jedi. And we're over here, okay, now we're doing joint work. And I'm like, okay, I thought we're going to be doing stress poses and yoga or something, pulling each other's bones apart or something. I'm like, I'm in, whatever, lock me up to the rack in the name of the Lord. So that's what I'm like. But we're over here just doing little, really, a grown-ass woman paid thousands of dollars to go like this with a bunch of adults going like this. Did that for an hour a day. And by the end of it, I felt this incredible opening in my creativity. I'm all the way past joints. Why? Because the joints are about flexibility. But flexibility towards what? Ask a woman giving birth about what flexibility in her hips and in her low spine is going to help her do. Be flexible? No, give birth, create. You see what I'm saying? That there are neurotransmitters in the joints. Forgive me if I get this wrong, because this isn't necessarily my expertise. I'm translating it for creativity. I'm not a body worker. But the joints have communicate. The joints are one of the areas where the body is always asking us, are we safe? Are you safe? Nervous system. Are you safe? Are you safe? Are we safe? And my ass is like, nope, nope. My body, nope, not right now. Nope. Nope. There's a tiger and an earthquake and poison in the air. And then everybody's dying. That's what my body's saying sometimes. Nope, we're not safe. The joint's like, okay, well, hold on. You can increase your body's capacity to answer the question in the affirmative. Am I safe? So I'm over here freaking out. Let me work on my joints. Then my joints have this, what we experience as this fluidity, flexibility, uh, hydration, whatever. But then with that work in the body, then at the end of that week, for example, I knew that she was going to ask me to sing at the end of this retreat. I wasn't leading, I was just there, and she knew I was a singer. And in those kind of environments, I don't like to sing because I'm just nervous. I'm a nervous wreck. I have the worst stage fright of anyone I've ever met to this day. By the end of it, working on the body, I was just like, well, yeah, fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah, sure. Yes. Am I safe to do that? Yes. You know what I mean? Waging war against this thing, you have heard me say this, no matter where you are in my community, taking a class, or some of you are just one-on-oneers or whatever. This fear of being seen. I have a fear of being seen. Okay. I have a fear of being seen. So let me go, put myself on a timeout, Google myself to death, punish myself, and focus on what's wrong with me. And I'm like, who told you that? Who told you you have a fear of being seen? Where is that? Tell me, where is the fear of being seen section of the Sermon on the Mount? Where is the fear of being seen area of the Yoga Sutras? Where is that? Where is the fear of being seen in the great myths? There's no, that does not, I don't buy that that's real. Do we experience that in some way? Do I have a fear of vulnerability? Sure. Putting myself out there? Sure. Is it hard? Yes. But can the body help you mitigate that? The resounding answer from the oldest traditions, the most durable wisdom that we continue to trust despite thousands of years of lapsed time, changing culture, language, etc. The most durable wisdom says, man, yes, the body. Yes, the body is there to help you. That the body is a supernatural technology here to enclose your little soul to get something done, is my thesis. But I don't want to lecture. This is boring. Let's talk. Is this useful? Helpful? What are you guys going through?
Vanessa, I would say it's definitely true that the body wants the safety.
Yeah.
And in the past, when I've met some people who work with, and I think this is some of Desi's territory, like nutrition, it is
Yeah.
also like she found the greatest results when she brought people to a place of asking themselves, is this safe? So when they're ready to eat something, or like, is it safe if I eat this physically? Is it safe if I eat this mentally, emotionally? And like using that safety as a measure for like the body's communication for if you can go and have these experiences. Um,
Mm,
and I've been thinking in my own artwork, the body as the medium, because I grew up with arthritis and I
hmm
would watch other people have these experiences and be so physically strong. And I was the one playing the sports, sitting the bench and being in pain. And in my 20s, I'd joke that I couldn't flick you off for the first 20 minutes of the day because when I'd wake up, my fingers would be stuck. And then to be almost 40 and that not be happening just from working on the body. Our,
hmm
the fascia is, I think, the fountain of youth. It can always be worked on, and it's an endless process, and it goes out and it experiences the world. The way our postures hold us, there's no one bad posture except the posture you spend the most time in. We want to be
hmm
able to explore all these different postures, and your current posture is designed for your current nervous system. And so it's holding you in exactly the way that it needs to hold you for it to feel safest to move through the
Yes.
world. And so as you strengthen different parts and you open different parts, so you talked a lot flexibility. I
Yes.
find stability sort of a missing piece of the conversation a lot of the
Ability is
time
huge.
because you can have flexibility and not stabilize it, and you can be so stable that you don't have the flexibility. And so you want your nervous system, your body, to be able to know, when do I need the stability and when do I need the flexibility, when do I need
Right.
the foundation, when do I need the adaptability. And so those kind of go hand in hand, and that's what you're always learning is, how do I find the stability, the adaptability to move through the world with feeling more and more safe. And then as you do that, your nervous system will shift, so will your posture shift. And they will
Yes.
battle it out for a while. Like you might find you're hunched over, and then you're like, "Oh, but I learned how to open up." And now they're like, "You're hunched, you're open, you're hunched, you're open." And you just spend this time going back and forth because literally your brain, body, nervous system is all trying to find its way to a balance where it's like, okay, I'm ready to go into the world and hold this posture. This feels safe
Yes.
for me. This is how I can take in more information. We use so much of our eyes to take in information, but
Yes.
our physical sensation, I think we need to lean on more as we go forward. You talked about the spiritual warfare because that is how you can sense. I used to be so much more afraid physically until I realized evil is real. And now I'm like, oh, if I tune into my body, I'm going
Right.
to have a better sense of being able to recognize when I'm actually in an unsafe situation versus when my mind is trying to be so vigilant that I can't tell when I'm safe and when I'm not.
Yeah, there's so much in there to I want to unpack, but at the end there, I'm writing something about this right now. It'll probably be out in the next day or two. But that the mind really does not have the capacity that we give it, that we want it to have. There are limits. We can't tell the future at all. Some people have a little, they can get back there and see beyond a little bit. But the mind, man, it's responsible for basic bitch things like get the blinking done, send the hormones out, keep the lungs going. Simple, really like binary. You know what I'm saying? But the body and its functions and its processes are run logically, linearly. Raise your hand if you've been. if someone told you you were weird and neuro diseased and neuro disabled, neuro wrong, because somebody said that because you realize at some point, probably at the age of 3, that your mind doesn't work linearly. The body in its systems, ask someone who does Chinese medicine this. The body is 3-dimensional. This system plus that system plus the past plus the future plus the this, and then we're going left and right, and then it's intricate. And then you go to a doctor and they're like, I don't know what to tell you. And we're like, I know. The body can do a lot more. The body can do a lot more than the mind can. And yes, I mean, so there's so much in there, Savvy. Someone else go. That was great. And I'll keep adding in. Welcome in. Who else wants to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted
Mm.
to mention the last few days, my body was telling me that it wanted to fast just simply by
Same.
not really prioritizing hunger or food, even when I hadn't
Yes.
eaten in a while. Yeah, I had a feeling you might have been going through something similar.
Of course, we're all going through the same thing.
Mhm. And when I gave in and listened to it and said, okay, I'm not going to force you to eat, but I do need to subsist in some way. So I found a kind of fast that worked for me. I would drink just lemonade and maple syrup
Love
with
that.
echinacea and other herbs during the day, and then eat a little bit at night until I could sleep. And in this time, in the past few days, it's revealed to me just how many forces have intimately made themselves, they've put themselves in my path in an effort to stop me from what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
And whether they know it or not, right? And it's up to me to secure that space, to protect those guardrails, and to keep making my work.
It is up to you. That's within your dignity. You can choose.
So that's
Like
what
it's
I'm
your
fighting for.
choice, but it's like, no, man, you're involved. You have so much dignity, agency, more than you realize. And so many of the sacred traditions insist. We talked about spiritual warfare last week in summer school. Is everyone doing okay after that? I know that was gnarly. I've never needed a longer recovery after a class. Took me about a week. Um, and I was prepared. I was braced for it for a couple months. So I'm curious about how you guys were feeling. But that, Des, okay, what do you do? Spiritual warfare. There's a lot to say, and I have a lot to say to that, and we didn't quite get to it in the last call, but we're going to talk about some of it in body section, in body class on Monday. But that every tradition of seriousness says fast. Why? Because the body is a is a is the bridge between this dense world, which has material density, pollution, emotional density and claustrophobia, attack, spiritual input. It's coming for your body. All of it. The food, the water, the soil's wrong. The phone is sending us stuff. What happens to the soul, to the spirit, to the agent of creativity, the person who knows and is meant to feel tethered to the source of creativity, the divine, at all times? You are tethered at all times. But when there's all of that interference, the mind starts to feel more attached to the material, what in the Catholic tradition and the Christian tradition calls the flesh, the realm of the flesh, the realm of, and the laws of sin. In various other traditions, in the egoic, in the mind-body complex, that creativity gets lost in the mind-body complex in the Hindu tradition. Fasting with intention, with the intention, I would add, with a spiritual intention, fasting with the endeavor to get back, has us bring, when people say, come back to yourself. Well, like, what does that mean? Come back to the source. Imagine an astronaut in outer space who's already like you're on the shuttle or whatever, taking photos of Mars or whatever. And then the individual astronaut goes out from the shuttle in the spacesuit. And then there's danger. And then there's like a little hole in the spacesuit. What happens? Come back to the shuttle. That's what is meant by come back to yourself. That's why people say don't look for validation, resources outside of yourself. Don't, little astronaut, go land on Mars looking for more oxygen. Come back to the shuttle. Come back to the divine source deep within yourself. We fast as a way to starve the flesh, the body, of its attachments to the realm of the flesh, the mind-body complex, the material, the inputs that are not divinely oriented. Fasting will get that ass together. I'm telling you. And it's hard. And then you'll wrestle with all of these, like for example, I just discovered this when we were talking about Leora and I filling out fasting. This week it came up for me. And I just did a day, although I have heard that it's better to go longer. But I only had the capacity to go. I needed to do it. I heard it urgently, so I did it for a day on Monday. And I've noticed that when I get hungry, and I want to say blood sugar and stuff like that, which is true, PCOS, whatever. True. When I get hungry, it's not that the body starts acting wrong. What I notice is that my mind goes to a particular set of thoughts when I get hungry. It's not just that I'm hungry and I need to eat. I do need to eat. You must eat well and constantly. What I noticed is that in my spiritual system, when I felt danger, when I was hungry, my mind went to a particular nasty set of thoughts about abandonment. I'm alone. And I want to start calling people and firing them off and firing off and be like, hey, and another thing from back in 1996, I can't believe you fucking said that. And I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Spraying and praying. That's an instance where I realize it's not that I'm hungry. I am, but there's an aspect of me deep down of my mind that is not tethered to the source. It's tethered externally to people, outcomes, validation, trauma. Is there anything wrong with me for doing that? No. Have I failed? No. It's just revealing, oh man, that's a blind spot. Okay, let me lock in. And fasting with intention, not starving myself of food. That's not at all what I mean. I mean fasting, which means starving myself of the fleshly inputs, worldly inputs, including the most critical worldly input, food. Starving myself of that and replacing it with spiritual considerations only as a way to bypass and expedite the mind's levers and habits and injecting it with spiritual resources. Did that make sense? Thank God, because I'm flowing. What you got, Lily? I'm flowing. You muted yourself. Go for it. You keep muting yourself. There you go.
Never mind, it's messed. There it goes,
There you are. You're
finally.
in.
Okay, my bad. But before we logged on, I was thinking, what can stop the bell and the dog goes to the bowl and eats, those little habits unbeknownst to us. So I think you saying that about fasting, something that I got out of it was thinking about, you said it disrupts kind of, or it sends you to that place where you're acting that. Yeah, so that really landed for me. Sorry, it took me a minute to say it, but yeah.
No,
Thank
And then,
you. And yeah.
yeah, fasting, yeah, to be done with care, intention, do it responsibly. Um,
And you said for a day, that was when you started like the 24-hour or
mhm.
okay. I have to fast for a scan on Friday, and I always really despise that. But
Yeah.
doing it a little bit longer with an intention would maybe help. So I'll report back.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously go according to what's best for your body and your health. But if there's some spiritual tug, if there's a tug spiritually, fasting, again, I mean, I must say that these days, these spiritual things that I'm talking about, I do with supervision. I have a spiritual director. Um,
Oh,
I'll be starting soon the Ignatian spiritual exercises, which is like a 30-week lock-in, spiritually, 30-week meditation kind of a thing, practice. Um, you can't, at least in the, you can do what you want, but it's the overwhelming encouragement is that it must be done with an advisor, someone who can help you.
no,
You know,
I feel what you're saying. Like kind of when you're confirmed and you have a support person. Or I don't know if you
you
need
don't have to
that.
be confirmed. No, my point is, um, it's wise to be supervised by
Okay.
someone who is fasting for spiritual reasons. People do it by themselves all the time,
Mm.
but I do like to encourage people to do it with supervision. Someone
And
who's, done it a lot, knows what they're talking about, knows
yeah.
what the signs and signals are. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing.
And I also grabbed a copy of the catechisms because I like
Yeah.
the way, oh God, I love it. And the
My
size is
favorite book in the world.
perfect. Like, I love,
Hmm.
so if I think I had come across something in here about fasting.
No, it's for sure in there. Yeah.
If there's ever any pages that are on your heart and you want to send them to me,
I will.
I'll let y'all
I have a
keep
different version. I
going.
think you might have an abridged version. I have the 75-pound one.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Um, is
It's
yours? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
this
I'll
is
send you
the
some stuff.
second edition revised. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm going back and forth. I keep almost buying this book and I keep not being sure which version. So, Lily, you have a slightly different version?
Yeah, this is the second edition revised in accordance with the official Latin text
Mm-hmm.
by Pope John
JP2.
Paul II. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
Or it
just
might be the same. It just could be smaller. It could be just a different printing. But yeah,
and
well, it's in there. I'm sure fasting. If they skipped it out, I'm sure fasting is in there.
oh yeah, and I really like this one because it fits in my hand well and it feels just really lovely.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've been looking for a spiritual advisor. I was actually supposed to go to
Go look for a spiritual director. I can
okay,
send you a resource. Yeah, look for a
that'd be
spiritual
great.
director. Hmm.
Thank you.
I would love that as well too.
Yeah, for those keeping score at home, the spiritual director is what it sounds like. It's like, hey, I'm going through something spiritually. Can you direct me? A quarterback, a coach for your spiritual, a mentor for your spiritual life. And it comes from it's a practice that is housed in the spirit in the Catholic tradition, but you don't have to be Catholic. I think that's true. You don't have to be Catholic. I mean, I can't imagine somebody like, sorry, no, it's not for you. Sorry. Doesn't sound like us these days. But no, it's yeah, you apply and you say, hey, that's what I'm looking for. And then some people it's free, some people it's not. Mine charges between $30 and $60 for the hour. It's really great. $60. It's just mentorship on your relationship to big brother, big sister, or mine is more paternal. He's in his 60s, 70s.
And I think
Advice
you're
about your relationship, your spiritual journey.
yeah, thank you. Because I don't want to run to you for everything, but I appreciate all your
I
advice.
am here. Yeah, it's a reason why I have spiritual direction because I know that in some way my work functions a little bit as spiritual direction. People come like, "Hey, I want to write a haiku," but then and after 2 sessions, we're talking about, ego and spirit and demons. So I know that it's one of the reasons why I have one because I can't just be out here offering my opinion. And I need help. not doing that. But yeah, I remember in this retreat that I was on, something that came, the theme of this bodywork retreat for her as a facilitator was called Journey to the Heart. And so we did body work starting from, we did 7 days retreat, and every day, a couple sessions a day. It's this cascade cadence of movement that by the end of the 7 days got us into our heart. And she was like, I can get you into your heart through the body. And I'm like, I'm in. That's something that we always say, like, oh yeah, get into your heart. But how? You got to be in love? Do you have to be healed? No. And all we did was the body. And by the end of it, what I noticed, I talked about this on one of my YouTube videos. I was floored and humbled very deeply that, I came from, most of these people are coming, they're like retirees coming from retirement, California, Berkeley. And I'm like the fast talking girl from New York. And I was like, well, this isn't really my crowd, but I do like the practitioner. These are the thoughts going in my head at the start, feeling distance. Oh, there's a couple people that I like. We're going to talk. We're going to kiki. And then, oh, she's not really my style, that other girl, that other woman, not my type. And by the end of it, I quite literally crying at the sight of damn near everything. The strawberries, this person that I was like, not that there was anything wrong with anybody there. Everyone was perfectly kind and agreeable. But had decided at the beginning of the week, she's not really my type of person. Nothing wrong with her, but we don't have a lot to talk about. And I was paired with her by the arrangement of the universe that by the end of it, we did partner work on this very heart-centered day, the kind of closing rituals. And she was this grandma, and everything she was saying to me, we were just practice of just offering little gestures, little fun facts about one another, as a way to kind of review and experience this heart-centeredness. And she was saying stuff like, I love chocolate. I love jungles. My favorite color is blue. And it makes me emotional to think about it. Everything she said, I could feel. And everything she said, I cared about. And I wanted to know more about. And I wanted to be involved. How do we got to get grandma some chocolate. Everyone stop, it's an emergency. Get her some chocolate. She hasn't seen her grandchild in 2 months, and she misses her grandchild. Everyone go fund me right now. Just everything about her was perfect. Everything. And I was just inside of my heart was just like this. I'm so sorry. How could I even think and hold the idea and the behaviors connected to that idea that person has nothing to do with me? What? I love chocolate. I'm a granddaughter. We have a million things in common just off those two facts alone. And what on earth is going on to make me think otherwise? What have I allowed? And and I'm saying this was not Pilates intense. It was, it's a bunch of grandmas. We're doing ankle work. We're doing 3 minutes of breathing with intention. And that accumulated over a week got me into a place of the heart. And that heart space after that's when at the closing ceremony of the retreat is when I sang. And did I feel nervousness? Yes. Were the stories there? Of like, oh my, when you get nervous, your breath gets shaky and your mouth is dry and you look fat or whatever goes in my mind. Oh, you messed up. Is that there in my head as I'm singing? Yes. But what was there and louder? My heart. I have to sing. Your heart was like, go outward. Love these people now. What are you talking about? Now, you can do it. You can go. And my joints are like, well, my body's like, is she safe? And the joints are like, yep. Diaphragm released. Okay, she's not so worried about people pleasing. Diaphragm's down. Stability. strength in the back in the posterior chain, yeah, she's erect, she can do it. And so something that we're going to be doing in summer school on Monday is, if you've done the Villain Challenge, you've seen me insist on this somatic practice. In a lot of somatic work, what you'll just go in and go into the body, lower back hurts, go in there. What do you feel? And so what you'll hear yourself say when you do these somatic exercises is things like, I feel unstable. I feel weak. That weakened me. I'm angry about how weakened I feel. And so what we're going to be doing on Monday is some of the assignments, awareness, is what information can you learn about how your body wants to support you based on what language you intuitively discover in a somatic practice. To give you an example, and then I really promise I'm going to stop talking, this is kind of a different lens. I did a 7-day purgation earlier in the year, a cleansing, an active purgation, which we'll talk about on Monday. These days, people will call it a protocol, elimination protocol. But spiritually, it's a active purgation. Where I took out all the foods, you're supposed to, maybe not love so much, sugar, booze. And then I committed to eating intuitively, as they say. And then, with the help of my doctor of Chinese medicine, we were looking at all the foods that I intuitively ate. I kept a record. And together we looked at it like, oh, this food and that mineral and that. You've got a hit to get that herb and whatever. You're eating carrots today and oranges on this day, whatever. We're looking at the list. And from the list of foods, my practitioner was like, you might have PCOS. And so then we did that testing. So what am I trying to say? That my body, I don't need to know shit about PCOS. I don't need to know I still don't know what it stands for. I don't know what that stands for. Polycystic, whatever. Doesn't matter. My body's like, doesn't matter. Eat this now. Does the diagnosis matter? Do you need to, maybe it is helpful for community and more information and strategy, validation. But this idea that you need to pursue the diagnosis, pursue that something is wrong. This does not apply to everything, by the way. So I have to offer it like tenderly, but that the body was trying to tell me, hey, carrots, beets, now. So my point in mentioning that is this idea of like, how do you feel if you ponder the idea of your next creative step? Got to launch the thing. How does that make you feel? Oh, I feel really shaky. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm strong enough. I'm afraid to, I feel shaky in my feet. Okay. You want stability. Where do you get stability from? Strength, stabilization muscles, core, pelvic floor. Does that make sense? Your body is trying to give you a prescription. And I want us to start thinking that way, which I think is infinitely, it's just this step of like, what's wrong with me first, and then going back. You can do that, nothing wrong with that. But if it makes you include, if that process asks you to include shame in your healing journey, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Anyway, let me stop talking. Y'all talk.
Vanessa, it's exactly, I just, so much of what you said. Like my stepmom's very, very sick. She has this nerve disease. And so like you were saying, not everything, but some things need to be held to the diagnosis lightly. And that's one of the best things that helped me with my arthritis was I didn't, for a long time, I made it part of my identity. And as I stepped away from making it my identity, the better I felt and the better I felt. And my stepmom, in this case, she has a pretty severe nerve disease and she keeps going to conventional doctors. And like, I can't get her to say yes to the Reiki work with me, even
Yeah,
though
it's
I know
scary. It's
it's
scary.
scary. And I know she can lay in bed and she needs no tools. She can't really touch her body. So I'm like, okay, it's an energy work. So
Mhm.
it's a great tool for her. I cannot get her mind to shift out of doctors must help, doctors know the answer, and I can't do this by myself, into recognizing that nerves actually do want to rejuvenate and can be
Yes, they
rejuvenated.
do. Your
Like
body wants to heal. Your
it
body wants
wants
to be
to,
well.
and it doesn't follow a logical path in any way that I
Not
have
in any
found.
way.
It makes no sense. And
No logical sense.
the bolder you are to say, okay, I don't know why you're telling me this and it doesn't need to make sense. And you just sort of follow the stories. I kind of think of it as like improv inside your body, where you're allowing these random stories that may seem so crazy and maybe they're little cartoon characters or whatever. That will lead your body closer and closer to what it needs to do its own healing. And like you said, the diagnoses are important for community and for understanding and different things like that. But um, I think in many, many cases, our bodies are beyond what our current medical system likes to think of our bodies as capable of.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting thing that's growing that I haven't even known where to start with it, but there's plasma and microtubules and just all these things that I think we'll hear more about in the future that are going to help us do more natural healing with our electromagnetic system as well.
Yeah.
I listened to a meditation the other day that was like you have your two brain, sides of the hemisphere, and you
Yeah.
have the line in the middle that's connecting them, and you can literally, if you lay there, ask for more electrical impulses to flow
Really.
between them, and then it sort of starts to align the hemispheres of your brain so that you can maybe be more alert, more focused, more connected into your body. um, so it's not the brain from the sense of the mind, but the brain from the sense of like, can I feel the anatomy within me and those electric impulses and those connections that are being made. So
Yes.
I'm not sure where to
Yeah.
go with all of it, but it is exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And I would add that thinking about your aunt, because that's all of this stuff obviously makes me think about my mother. She had a wicked autoimmune disease. Wicked, wicked, record setting, textbook like, man, what the fuck is this? This is nuts. Um, Getting someone else to heal in the way that spiritually, again, this is something that I'm chewing on with my spiritual director. Uh, he's like, hey, now, Vanessa, watch it. Is this idea of conversion, of the spirit, of a person's choices, the body, whatever. That at least in my spiritual tradition, which I know this is the ethos of all, um, is I said this before, but I'm saying it aloud for myself as much as I'm trying to share it, is that conversion, that the posture of conversion, of desiring conversion for somebody, happens first in your own heart. That conversion is not about healing someone else, changing their heart. You change yours. And with your changed heart, then a person feels safe to confront what they need to confront, to face what they need to face. And so I am instructed in my confirmation, in my baptism, the law that I'm governed to, and he kicks my ass. I just call my spiritual director. Like, well, have you forgiven that person? Like, I know you're mad. Did you? I don't. You need to forgive them. That's what you must do, because that's how this whole shit works. It's not prove your point. That's not how it fit. And so, but there's this idea that I will be leaning to more as we continue into summer school is community. To this day, I don't know. My mom's autoimmune disease by the time I kind of came of age was advanced. Advanced. The body was just getting screwed, just destroyed. But in my spirit, I don't know if I know for sure, but I'm curious about. Yes, there's 1,000 interventions, and there's certain things that happen in the body where you just need this sophisticated Western diagnostic system. You just need that imaging, whatever. You just can't skip that in some cases. But had my mother had an environment where she could sit, tell her story, and someone hug her as she said that thing that happened years ago, that the body completely rejected and punished her for experiencing, or whatever, that there's so much, not punished her, but it was this incredible inflammation in the body based on what happened when she was a child. Something grave, you guys can read between the lines. Had she just had a space where somebody listened all the way, 6 people sitting around her, undivided attention. Let's hear it. What happened? How does that make you feel? And then a hug until I had incredible nerve pain 5 years ago. I couldn't walk for 6 months. It was really bad. And I, by God's grace, ended up in Scotland. And the national health care is like, yeah, come get well. Versus in the United States, it's like, well, give us $10 million now. And then you still won't get it. Sorry, it's America. But in Scotland, they're like, yeah, come on. And so in the United States, something like nerve pain, the kind that I had, was at the level of physical therapy, not sort of neuropathy, whatever. The doctor sent me to physical therapist. The physical therapist was free, and he had all these modalities. We're using flower medicine, the I Ching, all types of stuff. So I was in Scotland growing up with your people. Yeah, and he was poking around, incredible nerve pain, couldn't walk, and so he's testing for structural issues, and he's like, there's no bones are in place, muscles are whatever, but you're in pain. No, you're in pain, even though there's nothing structurally wrong with you. Now, what is that? That's the body and the emotions talking together at the same time. Like, hey, you're in pain. Now, you don't have any broken bones, so what kind of pain could you possibly be in? Emotional. And so the physical therapist was like, hey, hey, you're American, so you're not used to this. I'm going to approach you gently. We have about 45 minutes left in this session. Do you need a hug? The physical therapist said that to me in his clinic. And we sat there for 45 minutes and he hugged me and I cried. Tears I haven't been able to cry ever in my life. And we did that week after week and the pain went away after a month. I couldn't walk. If I was forcing it, it's nerve pain, you can kind of get away with it. I couldn't walk if I was walking that day, I couldn't walk for longer than 30 minutes without extraordinary pain. My body telling me, if you don't sit down and cry. After that was that event, that moment for me in Scotland. And it's not just about healing emotional pain. That's not really my area. It's not my expertise. I don't think I have any expertise actually, but what happened after that opening was a new thesis within my creative work. That emotional material that needed to be dealt with belonged in an essay. And my body was holding it for me. Hey, Vanessa, it's right here for you. You must write about this stuff. You have to write about this. You have to share this. My body is holding not only the timing of my creative work, responsible for it. What do I do next? Ask your body. But what do I say? How meaty is it? What's the shit that matters, man? Your body's telling you that. This shit about your mom and abandonment and loneliness, and you feel alone, that shit, and you're struggling to figure out how to feel less alone despite all this bereavement, is the core of my work. That was 5 years ago. If you've been with me for a while, you know that that's in my thesis. You know that it's in there to help you feel less alone. My body it's right here. Hey, this is what you need to write about. Write about it. Paint about it. Sing about it. Sing with it. Because of it. Not despite it. So write about what it feels like to be an artist stuck in capitalism. in 2026. What does that feel like, man? This feels like hell, man. Write about it. But towards people and not from the vantage point that there's something wrong with you for being alive at the time that you are. Does that make sense? Okay, you guys talk. That's the end of my, I don't know.
It's like the body wants witnessed, or the soul wants witnessed. The
Yes.
soul wants witnessed. And it can either be witnessed by others, but then that's where the art also comes in, where it's like if there is not another to come in at that moment and witness, can you witness you through an artistic expression in some way? And then it gets out into the world, and or maybe it doesn't, but at least you've acknowledged it. I find our mind likes to gaslight our bodies. And so the more we can witness, and I'm not the best at that. I'm very good at like, I'll cry and then I'll just not have any other outlet. But I'm learning to take like what is the tears and find the creative expression. And then the body is still getting better and better and healing and feeling stronger. And
Exponential
yeah.
growth the body is capable of because it's supernatural.
And you can work with the body forever. And to also just love the body right where it's at, like that's a key point too. It wants, there's this, I forget the physics term, but it's as you see it, so it changes. And with our habits, like let's say it's eating,
Mm.
whatever, um, I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to eat this cookie. I know I'm going to want to eat four of these cookies. And instead of telling myself I can't eat this cookie or these four cookies, what else am I willing to do? And you're negotiating with your mind and your body for what you're going to do. And it's like, all right, fine, I'm going to eat these four cookies and I'm going to do lunges while I eat these four cookies because that's the negotiation I came to that felt acceptable for my body and my mind. And then as you keep going and the creativity comes in and the expression starts to shift, like as you're seeing the habit and as you're seeing your body, so it changes and then it shifts because you've, instead of fighting the field, you allow the field to help you do it over
Yes.
time. And then you're not broken. You're saying all is allowed here. And
Yes,
I'm
because
just
it is. It
figuring
must
out.
be. The body's like, please include this little detail.
Mhm.
Yes.
Please. That's why you go
There
to
you go.
Chinese medicine. It's like, okay, my knee pain hurts. It's like, okay, we have to go look at your pinky toe. We have to include it.
Yeah. The body's trying to close a loop. It's
Yeah.
loops always. It's just trying to close the loop, close the loop. And that's what trauma is. It's just an open loop that didn't really get to be closed. And your responses to that, and may or may not be trauma, could be little trauma, big T trauma, as they say in somatic experiencing world. But
Right.
it's just this connection of the body, even when it's sick, is highly intelligent, and not to undermine illness at all. It is really, really difficult, especially when you're dealing with
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
not to undermine that at all, but just to say that the body's even capacity to heal, to create symptoms that are a result of this healing is really, really intelligent. And I think
Yes.
remembering that is really important because it will help you realize that even when you're feeling unwell, your body is not against you.
It's your body's not against you. Your mind
Your
is.
body is never against you. Right, right. Well, and I love what you said about emotional pollution because like on the other side of that, it's like the emotional sobriety around what you're feeling is, really important too, to just like find clarity.
Clarity of you, the info. Yeah, that's all.
Maybe fasting from what, whether that's food or whatever sensory input you're getting is really helpful in getting clear. Meditation's
Mm.
helpful in getting clear. Even just sitting outside in a little bit of quiet time can be really good in getting clear. But it's like this, I think that we're just taught that or conditioned to believe that, yes, something's wrong with us, but that also that the body is a problem to be fixed and dominated. And every time that we try to dominate, it's like
Yes.
it's not the way. The body is the unconscious mind. The
Yes, and that
body,
that doesn't work.
right.
Because the mind is would be the mechanism or of
The interface. It's the
yeah.
interface of the
The
subconscious mind.
yes, but what I'm trying is like really grasping the fact, even scientifically, if you must go this route, that the mind is inferior
Hmm.
technologically to the body.
Hmm.
Like
Totally.
it's if the brain has dozens of systems, the body has billions.
Totally. Totally.
It's
It
so your
is
mind, and that's
limited.
so it's even like this idea. I don't know if this is true scientifically, but something that you guys are both saying, savvy too, that like does the mind gaslight the body. I mean, mind gaslights the mind, man. The body's
Yeah,
all fucked up, bro. Like
totally.
we're gonna send
Totally.
this system out. I don't care if you want inflammation or not. You're gonna get inflammation because we need to alert your dumbass above the mind. Come, bro.
Right, right. Well, that's what I'm saying is that
Yeah,
oftentimes when the mind is trying to say something is wrong, the
right.
body is having an appropriate response to whatever
Yes.
the source,
Yeah,
the original source of the ailment or the illness is, which is often not what the mind or even what the medical diagnosis has
right.
purported it to be, because
Right.
because a nerve pain could say, "Oh, I slept wrong forever," right? My shoulder pain, was spasming for the last 3 weeks, or I have a little bit of, whatever, childhood trauma, and I spent 3 weeks with my family. Like
Right.
sometimes things flare for other reasons. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I love what you said about emotional sobriety because there's something to think about there where it's like, in the same way, it's like, oh, sugar detox, alcohol detox, sobriety.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right,
let your body
right, right,
cool down from this habit.
right.
Emotions are the
They're
same.
fickle. Well,
The
and
thoughts.
they're so important in
Yeah.
metabolizing our experience, and we must be careful
Yeah.
about getting drunk on them, and
Yes. That's it.
becoming like, yes, over identifying with
Yeah.
the sensation of what's happening
Yes.
in your body.
Yeah. So I mean, like I always use this when we're talking about this material. It's easy for me to find this when I think about relationships, like romantic
Mhm.
relationships, friendships, whatever. Like I'm feeling a way about whoever or
Mhm.
whatever. And then they left me. They suck. Da 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 da. Like I'm thinking about a relationship in the past, a friendship where it was like, we need a break. We just
Mhm.
do. It just became that way because our emotion, our thoughts and language was just
Mhm.
took some space. And then I'm like, oh, well, I miss my friend. And so in that little week off or whatever, I'm like, I want you to check in and see. How
Mhm.
did I feel in the body? Body's like, thank God. Chill,
Relief.
relax, spaciousness, breathe, calm
Yeah,
down.
relief is really good information.
Relief. Relief at the gut level of the gut, of the joints. There's less
Mhm.
claustrophobia, interference,
Congestion, less congestion.
congestion. Yeah,
Resistance, just overall resistance too. I mean, it's really good information too to just understand like where your boundaries are. And we live in a society that has also conditioned us no pain, no gain. Push past your boundaries, right? And there's some truth to that, and
a
that you
lot of
do need
truth to
to
that. Yeah.
stretch and get your edge and find a new one and all of that, like we do in, say, a yoga practice. But also pain is the body's way of saying, I have reached a limit here. I have reached an edge, my nervous
Some
system is on
kind. Yeah.
fire, like we have fight and flight responses for a reason, but we are, bombarded. Our nervous systems are totally bombarded in this day and age. And sometimes we do have trouble differentiating between, am I getting chased by a tiger right now? Or I just had too much coffee this morning,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. But yeah, again, because my point, although it's obviously related, my work, yeah, that we're talking about the body of work, and we're going to be talking about on Monday in summer school. That my urging is lend these systems, this information, this stuff that we're talking about, whatever, nervous system, whatever you want to say, to your creativity.
Mhm.
I'm not the relationship girly. I'm not even the nervous system girly, but I'm saying, can you enlist and have you, frankly, have you enlisted your body
Mhm.
in the endeavor of your creativity with your full send? In the
Yeah.
same way that your body is giving you information, like your intuition is saying, do we like that person or not?
Mhm.
Sure. Can you start to mine for information about your creative next steps, about your process from your body? If you have a fear of being seen, can you talk to your body about that? Does your body want to get involved? Have you involved your body? Or is the discourse happening only at the level of the mind that is limited, but it's certainly bombarded with information, with hegemony that says creativity is chaste
Mhm.
because there's something wrong with you and you've got to go get it. that you are not creative, that you are not held by an unconditionally loving God who decided your objective in life, which is to create. Are you there? Or are you, there's something wrong with me and I'm not? And can you, whoa, the body wants to help me. The body wants to help me do this.
Yeah,
Can
it's an
you go to
internal
the,
orientation.
yes, can your work, is your workout, is your fitness routine about vanity? That's one of them 7 slipperies we talked about last week. Is it about I want to look like this? Is that how the body is designed? Yes, you want to be healthy and you want to feel good, you want to look good, you have a particular way you like things to look, you want to be attractive, whatever. But is the body designed for vanity? No fucking way. No fucking way. Aesthetics, maybe. Vanity? No. But the body, can you go to the gym? Can you go to your yoga practice? Can you go to your meditation sit with the objective, holding the intention in your heart that I'm sitting to meditate because I'm creative. I'm settling my nervous system because I'm creative. I'm eating this food now because I'm creative. And I want the whole shit to be working. I'm enlisting my body in the project as much as I'm enlisting my coach, the inspiration, the writing class. What would happen? The body would be like, in my experience and what the sources say, the body would be like, thank God. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Now, okay, we're okay. Creativity, we're all in coherence with creativity. Okay, fine, okay. Yeah, because she was holding on to this idea that she was damaged, and we don't really have a program for that. What do you mean she's broken? We don't really know how to, what's that? She's something wrong with her? No, our design was designed by God, and we're locked in no matter what to that. The body is locked into that, just like the space shuttle suit is connected to Apollo comms. The body just has that, even though the astronaut gets all confused. Oh, she's thinking about creativity now. Okay. Watch as the shit starts flying. Why? In supernatural fashion, that the body is equipped to help you. Okay, okay, boom, you failed. You're writing the essay, didn't work. Terrible sentence, flop. Body's like, okay, let's pick up slack immediately. The body knows the assignment, the high vision. The body knows what you're here to do. Okay, Vanessa's got to do this thing. Where is she today? Yeah, she's shaking in her boots. Okay. She just got broken up with. Okay. The body is trying to help you get through that as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. The body has the technology to help pick up the slack, said another way, where you are not so courageous or intelligent in your mind. Every time I step away from my creativity, every time I step away from singing for a while, I'm in my head, I'm like, it's been so long. It's been so long. And I'm like, oh God. And you're dreading that first step back because it's going to suck. Your mind's like, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. It's going to suck. And then what happens? I practice. Maybe there's aspects of my vocal folds that are out of shape. The muscles are a little weak. Fine. But what do I get? All types of downloads of information. All types of shit. Oh, it's like I couldn't have imagined getting that information. Oxygen tank. You know, those submarine, like the guys on the like Mission Impossible, he's like underwater holding his breath and he's like, I'm running out. That's what's meant, I think, when you've abandoned yourself. I hate how shameful some of this pseudo self-help, pseudo psychology stuff is. I really hate it. Like, hey, come back, come back. You're doing fine. You're an astronaut. You're supposed to be in this dense foreign dimension, figuring shit out, exploring, asking questions, using your mind that doesn't remember that well, that learns linearly, etc. You're supposed to be doing that. Getting your ass kicked. We know. Hey, but every once in a while you got to come back. And there's lots of ways to do that. The old desert fathers insist on things like active purgation. We'll talk about that on Monday. Silence, man. Shut the fuck up. For
Sorry.
once, Vanessa, be quiet. What are you talking? You don't know what to say anyway. You just talking. That's just a repeated thought. You just saying shit. You don't know. Get the download. Damn. We try to get more if you're be quiet. Silence. Starving very meticulously, serious with earnestness, starving your inputs. These days, like I cannot, I cannot be online. It's like a couple of months ago, I was going through something in a relationship, and I'm feeling one way, and I'm hearing God say one thing, and I know what my beliefs are as you know, as a Christian. This is how I'm supposed to approach this. This is how I will approach this, even if it takes me a long time to figure it out. This is what I'm going to do because I have to. This is how I love this person, so I'm going to treat this person. This is how I'm going to talk to this person. Then you get online scrolling, and someone's like, you know, what's your problem? You know, it's avoidance. You're wounded. Your masculinity is damaged. Man, shut the fuck up. Maybe. But I'm dumb. I know that for a fact. So what I'm going to do, and I don't know what to, this one's tough, this thing. So I'm going to go to the architect of the cosmos. That's it. Everybody out there with their little, my takes included, everybody out there with their little takes is so well intended. So well intended. You just out here putting shit online because you need to pay the bills, bitch. We get it. But right now, but it really, even, but like, I mean, that's in general. But these days, I really do feel like in terms of purgation, starving, you're coming back into the body, starving your flesh of its connections to them, whatever you want to say, the realm of sin, the mind-body complex, whatever you want to say. It's related to last week. Man, if that person is supposed to be in my life, if I believe that God put that person in my life for a reason, and now we're in a little sitch, we're stumbling over ourselves for a reason that God intended, by the way, so that both of us could grow in virtue together with witnesses intimately of each other, stumble over ourselves and struggle patiently to forgive one another right now. If I believe that God put that person in my life to do that, I need to protect it from outside influence, from this. I mean, these little, for me, TikTok is the dark web. Remember, I don't know, millennials remember having to go on like LimeWire and download weird shit to look at. Now you just scroll. You could be like, oh, I want to look up a skincare. What do I do? Where can I get microneedling in Mexico City? And then you scroll, and it's the most next thing is the most demonic thing you've ever seen, traumatic video you've ever seen in your life. Like, what? That's a baby that's been squashed. What? I'm going to protect my relationships and my creativity, which is an assignment from God, from outside influence, because I am dumb. Like, oh yeah, that's a good point. My masculinity. What? Maybe, but I'm gonna for the critical tea, I'm getting it from God. For the critical stuff, okay, where are the people gonna go watch the soccer game? Yes, let me get online and figure that out. But what do I do next with my art or this soul that I love dearly? I need to protect a couple things. Does that make sense? And protect my body, which is sensitive. You know, does this make sense? Is this weird? This is a weird class, isn't it? I know. This is a weird community. I'm sorry I'm like this, but this is what I'm like.
It's the weird, it's the good weird.
It's the good weird. I'll
The
take
weird that
that.
we all here for, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those of you in summer. It doesn't matter if you're in summer school or not. You guys hanging out, collaborating. What's going on with that? New people, old people, what's going on? The little discord's like, hey, who wants to meditate? Anyone fasting? Anyone want to brainstorm? Savvy and I were on for like 95 hours last night. She had her little fascia class, and we were just like, well, look at now. We're going to be up until midnight talking. It was fun. What else do you guys want to talk about?
I wanted to say something about silence, if that was
Please,
fine.
please.
So, silence has been a really important part of my creative process. I My first real introduction to silence was living in a Buddhist monastery for a year. And I'm not Buddhist, but it was so out of pocket for me. I wanted to do something that I would never have done. And I told myself going into this experience that I would forget everything I ever thought I knew. I come from a family where we have really big egos. I think everybody in general has got a big ego, but my family's ego is, oh my gosh. So I know that I have one, whether I wanted to admit to it or not. And I wouldn't be able to listen if I came with some sort of, I don't even know if entitlement would be quite the right word, but I'll use it for the sake of the conversation, entitlement into, this experience that I was having. Uh, but when I first made it to the monastery, it was like one of those like fuck this shit. Like I remember day one, I was like, there's no way I'm doing this. But I arrived at in the evening and they only allowed you to leave the evening the next day. So I said I'm gonna give it one evening. And I sat and I sat and I sat because we were doing Zazen. I don't know how many people are familiar with Zazen, but it's a seated meditation.
Mhm.
And so you're literally just responsible for sitting. You're supposed to sit with yourself, with your body and your mind. You're just supposed to sit. So we sat a total of 9 hours, I think it was, on and off. But when you added it up, it was 9 hours. And I just remember by the time the evening the next day came, I said, I'm going to give it one more day. And then one more day turned into a week turned into a month.
Yes.
And it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. It changed me in so many ways. And that silence was very it was haunting as well because when I stepped out of that monastery, I still to this day have a hard time adjusting to,
Yeah.
it's like going into a grocery store. It's like, whoa,
Billion
what
life.
the fuck? Yes. Like how have I lived my life like this, like my whole life? And it's like when I get to a period of time in my own creative process where I'm too far or I spend too long without going, being quiet
Brilliant.
and
Brilliant.
yes. So I just wanted to talk about that. I
I
needed to
love
say
it.
that.
Silence is huge. What I grabbed onto that outside of everything of what you said, thank you for sharing, is what you noticed, like it was feeling sticky for the first little whatever, first 7 days or whatever. And then in the same period of time, if you're going day by day, the same metric of time, a day turned into an exponential experience and manner of existing within time. I'm good. I'm just, shit, it's sticky. It's real human. It's real earthly. It's giving Gregorian clock right now. And then the body allowed you to, shit, well, now I can sit and it's no sweat. I'm experiencing that a lot recently myself, like in meditation, especially. There's something about it. I always try to tell people this. I think Evelyn has heard me say this in classes previous. There's a lot going on in the world, all of it weird and troublesome, and everything's expensive. There's lots of inputs. We're online too much. But there is something spiritual happening, I believe. I'm fairly certain about that. And it's wild. What an exciting time to be alive. But what I find, exactly to your point, thank you so much for bringing this up, is that like when I meditate these days, 30 minutes for me 10 years ago was like either impossible because it's too hard to do because of my, or if I did 30 minutes, it felt like, wow, yes, I am Goggins. Like, oh, I've done something. But now, what I experience, I think in part because of what's going on, it's as if the universe and the benevolent creatures therein know what's going on down here. And they know it's like, if this motherfucker just sits in that little meditation pocket, there's gonna be more, we're gonna give him more codes. So it's this thing that you're talking about. There's that the body has the capacity to exist supernaturally, exponentially, to, you know, but it also, you cannot anticipate how much you get, and
Yes.
your capacity to grow, how your growth is measured and experienced, how your progress is experienced. You think because we've been doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, first grade, second grade, third grade, January, February, March, that it's all going to just go like this. That's the mind. But the body's like, no, man, we're going to get a little curve here coming up. Does that make sense?
It
Have I
does. I was gonna
bastardized what you
say,
said? No?
yes, I was gonna say it does make sense, and it made me think about how when I first went into the monastery, there was no part of me that ever intended on staying there a year. But then once I hit the
Year, it's
year mark,
crazy.
it was there was no part of me that intended on staying there a year, but once I hit the year mark, it was like my body was saying, okay, it's time to, we need to leave silence. We need to leave out of this. I need to, I need to talk. I need to start, because everybody else that was there with me was also in a deep state of silence. There was only a period of time where we really talked to each other. So you were interacting with people every single day. You meditated with the same people, ate with the same people. If you had roommates, then you went to bed at the same time. But you didn't know anything about these people, and it lasted that long for the entire year. And you barely knew anything about them. But
Wow.
yes, it was
But it
very
didn't
incredible.
matter. Yeah.
It didn't matter. It did not matter at all. But it was, when a year came, it was something in me that was like, okay, it's time to go. It's time to, move on to the next. We need to leave this stage of silence. It felt like a liminal space, but it was time to move on. And so I'm bringing this up because you mentioned not really knowing, like there's never, the
Yeah.
mind likes to create absolutes, but when it comes to the body, there isn't an absolute. Your body has that,
Or yeah,
that,
or no, but the mind doesn't know what the body does all the time.
yes, that's correct. Yes. So I was just kind of, I needed to say that.
I'm glad you did. Yeah, it's like, and again, bringing that back to creativity, man, just like you're talking about. The same thing happened to me when I was in Scotland. I was supposed to be in Europe for 6 weeks when I went 5 years or 5 years ago, whatever. And then I was there for 7, and all that quiet and all that stillness. And then I was like, it's time to go back. What can we extrapolate about our creativity from that? That the thought, there's a wisdom, and your body will tell you what to write next. And if you don't think that's what's happening anyway, if you don't think your body is the one painting, you've lost your mind. If you don't think your body is the one coming up with those sentences, you know what I'm saying? If my body is doing my art right now, my body is singing, my body is speaking, my body is typing, my body is doing it. My body's way more involved than my mind is. Go ahead, Ron.
I don't know what made me want to bring this up, but
Hey.
I did a course on research about the Oracle of Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
And there was actually more than one oracle throughout the ancient world in the Mediterranean. There was oracles all over Mediterranean, Middle East, and Africa as well too. And the practice within Delphi was a ritual descent that was a multi levels of washing. And so you would go to the Custosis spring and you would wash and bathe and cleanse yourself from all earthly, all of the earthly things. And then you would descend into the inner chamber,
Yep.
and you would then wash and drink from the custosis, or the Castilian was above, and then the custosis was in the inner chamber,
Mm-hmm.
and that the process through that was multi-layered, because if you were going into the aditon, the inner chamber, and you weren't fully cleansed and purified and ready, you would then have to just ascend back up, wash again. And it was almost kind of like you were in you were in relation to the environment, and you were in relation to the medium through which the spirit was moving through you, and through
Yeah.
which the divine was speaking through you.
Yes.
And I'm getting almost like this sense of like the body as as a almost like as a tool of divination of like your body is telling you
It's
when
a
you're
technology.
prepared. Yeah, when you're prepared to be able to be a channel for this, information, or when your body is telling you like this is what is being called to you to
Yes,
do, to
yes,
prime and prepare, so that when you're at the
yes,
seat, when you're in the seat of the inner chamber, that you are actually the most prime conduit you can be.
yes. Yeah, that the body is a technology of transmission, of
Yeah.
receptivity, of alchemy,
Mm.
of all types of other words I can't think of at the moment. Mind, not so much. Body, yes.
Yeah.
And we're encouraged to consider that a grace. Like, I wish my mind could do it. No, man, you better chill. One of my favorite writers is Simone Weil. She says um, that God crosses infinite time and space to find us. Humans are incapable of traveling vertically. We're only capable of traveling horizontally. That's vertically up versus horizontally on the earth. Humans are incapable of traveling vertically, but God crosses infinite time and space to find us, to tend to the seed that he planted without our knowing or wanting. Because had you been asked at the onset, you would have said no. Vanessa, I know you're grieving now, but what do you say? Where you're going to be leading a bunch of weirdos online, making sure that they don't feel alone. Had you asked me that 10 years ago, I'd been like, no, fuck you. Absolutely not. No, no, what about me? What about me? Nope, not doing it. I'm not going to have time. How could I possibly do it? I can't imagine the possibilities. No, I don't have any money. I don't have any family to support me. It's not going to work. You would have said, no. The body's like, we heard the message. She'll get with it later. We got it. And the body's telling you when, where, and how. I think you can get the when, where, and how from other people's systems and other people's wisdom, collaborating. But I guess my point is, have we tuned into the body enough and developed a relationship with our bodies as necessary, as a necessary linchpin between the spiritual and the creative? Or is it fragmented and alienated from that process? And are we tuning to that stuff? Are we developing a practice, awareness, consciously, heroically, courageously, faithfully, with all those three elements, the body, the creativity, and the spirit? Are we doing that together, or are we getting pulled? Like I was this weekend, I was talking to some people watching the Mexico game at the World Cup. And they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I help people with their creativity. And they're like, oh, like help their social media. I'm like, what? Where in the fuck did I say that? Like, they don't know. And so they don't know that that's the fighting words for me. You know what I mean? They're like, who? No, first of all, you just call me a slur? What? No. And I'm like, hold on, Vanessa, touch grass. But it's like this idea that out there, if I say creativity to the layman out there, they think social media management. Huh? Bitch, I don't know how to do that. I don't have a system myself. I don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just throwing it up. But like, my point is like, there's all these things out there. It's hard to enumerate and to even become consciously aware of how the influences out there that are pulling us out of our creative nature into this matrix oriented, you know what I'm trying to say? But I make that point a lot.
Yes, as a social media manager. Like
Yeah,
I hate that because and that's something that I say all the time. Like for the longest time, I just dreamed about getting out of social media until I recognized
yeah,
that this was also part of like my God-given path to hone my creativity, but I didn't
yeah,
understand
yeah,
that at the beginning. So at the beginning, it just felt like God, social media is eating away at my soul. And it was, and if I'm not careful, it can,
yeah.
the
Be
doom
careful.
scrolling, all of that, but it's
Not
like we're
appropriate.
just so disconnected. Like and we are being systematically cut off from our
Yeah.
bodies.
And you went like that too. And as a somatic,
Yes,
it's that.
that's what it is. And social media is their tool to do that. And that's why it's like a double-edged sword because it's been such a brilliant tool to help community and
It's
to help
brilliant.
connect. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's how I found you, it's
Yeah, sure.
brilliant. And
You got to be careful. That
Got to be so
scrolling
careful.
hurts these days. It hurts
Oh,
these days. And I love a scroll. I
me
love
too.
the thought
Me
of like, because
too.
it's my job to be on social media. I love a good scroll on my
Same.
account. Just scrolling through nonsense, low vibration. Love
It's
it. It's so fun.
so
Like,
good.
what is Kim Kardashian up to? I have to know. You know,
It's
but it's not, it's this, it's like I at least have to do it on YouTube or something where if I want to watch the low vibrational thing, I'm in control of it, lest I see something. Oh my God. And then the energy behind it, the invisible stuff.
right. I was gonna say it, but it's
Are
a
those
harvesting.
codes?
They are
Up
harvesting your
1,000%.
energy.
And they're influencing your thoughts. Sure,
Yes.
I had this experience a couple, I was just thinking in my head, oh, I just had this, I was in church, I was in at mass, and had this intrusive thought in the middle of like the most critical moment of mass, and I was like, oh, this meme. I want to see this meme. And I said, what? This irrelevant, unnecessary meme from like 2009 or something. Just didn't have any bearing on anything. Not insignificant. Just slop. And then and I opened my phone and it was there. And I'm like, okay, okay. What else is that process that I was graced to pattern recognize? What else is that influencing and attacking? I'm out. And I've been starving myself of social media scrolling. It's been tough, but I'm like in the last couple of weeks, because I think that's why I'm here in Mexico, is to get quiet. It's just to be quiet and see what happens next. And it's like all these other, you know how like in Star Wars Episode 7, when Luke comes back online into the Force, R2D2 starts, you guys, I'm sorry, that's the deep lore, but R2D2 just turning back on. There's all these things that are turning back on. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot that I liked that thing. I've literally just, my head has been full of memes and content creator drama. And my conversations are like, did you see this meme? Why is that a conversation? I'm a human being and I'm almost 40 years old. What? I mean, I love Alex Earl like the rest of them. And yes, I want to know what's up with the skincare, but I do not give a shit about the fact that I mean, like, I don't hate her, but does my life need to be concerned at all with the fact that she's dating Tom Brady? No.
It's also like the parasocial relationship like layer where people think that the people
That's
that you're
especially
scrolling
important.
on are your friends and they're not. And it's not like a bad thing or a mean thing. It doesn't mean you're wrong or they're wrong. It's just it's a
No.
fake relationship.
And when you're
It's not
craving real
real.
relationship, you're craving real relationship, and which means that your
Yeah.
body is trying
Yep.
to give you the courage to
To
build
connect to something
real
real.
relationship, which is going to be hard
Right.
in this
Right.
landscape.
Right. And you can't have a relationship to anybody if you don't have that relationship to yourself to begin with. Like if you don't
Yeah,
know you if you know you don't know yourself well enough.
if you're disembodied, yeah, it's going to be harder. But I do believe that going forward, that building community is going to be hard work.
Yeah.
It is going to require, like, it's something I've been hearing from God, to be frank. And again, I don't know for sure. Check in with somebody that you trust more than you trust me. But I've been hearing up to the point of calling my friends, my close loved ones, and I'll tell my community is that now is the time to practice hearing the voice of God.
Hmm.
Get good at it now while it's easy,
Hmm.
because it's going to get harder if you're not already struggling. If you don't know the difference between that thought, and is that from me? Is that my intuition? Is that my gut? Is that my neighbor's gut? Was that the dream I had? Was that my neighbor's dream? Was that the algorithm? Was that the hangover from watching Love Island? What was it? I don't know. Okay. You need to get clear. And you can get clear, but you must try that way. I just believe with everything that we're seeing with like AI,
Mm-mm-mm.
surveillance, it's
Hmm.
going to get very hard.
Yes.
It's going to get very hard to, it's going to be scary,
Yeah.
challenging. It's going to feel, we're going to be under the illusion that building community is uphill. And it will be. It might even be illegal.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Do you know what I'm
they,
saying?
they don't want you to be connected and understanding each other. That
Do
doesn't
it
work for them.
now. And that's the thing. These evil forces, they're not meditating and praying to the same God that we are. They're not. That's why
Right.
they
Well,
need
that's
to
why they
build.
want AI to take over the art world and music world, and why you have AI artists who are like shooting up to number one, but AI artists are never going to feel are never, that music, that art is never going to
No,
have
it's
the
not.
impact that a human being will have, ever, ever.
No, no.
An AI will never, ever be able to make creative decisions like I do, but it is to perpetuate this cutting off again. It's like you listen to something, you're like, they're not even going to know why they don't like it. And it's because you haven't been seen, because there isn't a human being creating it on the other side of that.
Yeah, and the more and more the AI, the artificial world, which has billions
The
of dollars,
synthetic, yeah.
the
Yeah.
more and more that comes up and out, the more attuned
Hmm.
human beings will be sniffing out what's a now, are you a real person? That
Yeah.
happens automatically on TikTok these days. I feel like that's one of the things I've benefited from. Like there has not been a single AI script once, not one. And I didn't even know that until I had to deal with being allegedly potentially plagiarized. Where I was
Hmm.
going through I was like, oh damn, I didn't even notice that. And other people are doing it left and right.
Hmm.
People are thirsty for something real,
Yes.
embodied. And if
Yes.
you do that, they'll find you. That's it. Oh, I don't know what she's on, but I can feel that she's a sentient human being. But I do
Hmm.
think that we need to practice this, as I think it's going to take a turn quickly. And if you want to serve, like, I don't know, I was talking to Savannah about this the other day. I don't know if she's here. The dead internet theory.
Oh, yeah.
60% of the comments,
Oh my God, all the time, everywhere. And sometimes the same comments. Some of the bots even have the same profile picture now, all of them.
yes, 60% of the comments on TikTok are bots.
Yep.
Like if you see somebody, like if somebody has like a cute outfit and then everyone's like, where is it from? That's not a person.
Hmm.
That's a bot.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm in immigration, and so most of the haters or, MAGA profiles
Uh,
are not even real.
bots.
Yep, they're all bots.
That's why they
Can I
invest.
jump in?
Please,
Yeah.
you
Go
may.
ahead. You were saying, I want to hear what you're saying first.
No,
That's
I said it
why.
all. Go ahead.
Well, Karis, you were just saying, like, I think you were saying some of the MAGA stuff. I've been sitting with this. I've been sitting with the idea of like the narrative of we're more isolated than ever, which is like not untrue at all. But I also wonder if like they're painting it as like the loneliness epidemic. But I'm like, okay, true, people are lonely, but do we need this time alone to have the discernment? Because I've spent a significant amount of time alone, and it is how I've been able to learn to hear myself better. So if we're painting it as it's bad for you to be alone, and in this really negative, like if you're spending that much time alone, then must be a suicidal type loneliness, which is true that that can be there. I'm like, are we missing an opportunity to start to hear ourselves and sort of have a quietness in our spirit that then allows us that discernment when we go out later? And then I'm in a very liberal area and very much not liking anything MAGA and fair. But I'm wondering if we're also giving that more credit than it needs to have. Because what I'm hearing and seeing is people hating on that agenda so much that they're actually not embodying like love and kindness and peace in their own life. It's like we're so fixated on the evil that's happening that the good and the people who are aligned with God aren't showing up to the fullest power that they could because they're preoccupied with the kind of hammering against the evil, which none of this is bad. It's all kind of paradoxical and I don't fully understand it, but these are some of the things that are coming up as I'm listening to you guys talk about the things you've been talking about.
Yeah. Curtis, what do you think? I'll let you. It's one of your areas.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think there's a big difference between solitude and loneliness. I think loneliness
Mm.
is in the mind, and whether you're just by yourself somewhere, it's sort of like you can have everyone will have a subjective experience when it comes to just being alone. But I agree with what you're saying as far as like, I think it's really easy for either side of the aisle to get really up in arms about whatever it is that they're fighting for and against. Um, the discourse that I have, I've been doing this for a long time. I have never ever seen the discourse get as nasty as it is
Yeah.
getting right now.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how frustrating it is to be talking about an injustice. And the main question that I get from accounts that aren't bots, but accounts that are, going to be up in arms against my cause are all, well, what's the real story? And it just comes down to like you just this missing this billions of dollars of propaganda and misinformation that I think people's discernment is really um what's the word, frayed, like it's really been run down. I think that people are having a hard time with their discernment because there's so much information and hatred, and then you get into this like mob mentality where you're like, well, I don't want to be overrun by the mob. And so I'm going to maybe refrain from saying something a certain way, or I'm going to refrain from speaking out because I don't know who's going to come for me. And that is a whole other exercise in like staying embodied and being with yourself, I think, when you're like out there speaking loudly and politically about something, because the energy that you get from the internet is definitely a lot. It can definitely be a lot, and it's not for the weak to just like be out there. And, for the purpose of like, how do we hone our own creativity in the midst of so much like hatred and misinformation and propaganda? I think it just goes back to what we're saying. You have to get silent and get to know your own thoughts and the voice of God so well that when you do get something that is totally misaligned with that, you can spot it very quickly.
You
Um,
got it. Discernment is something, but yeah, by now you should be able to detect propaganda in the body with your
exactly,
by now.
exactly.
If you have to fact check,
Yeah.
you should be
Yes.
able to feel what it feels like.
Complete.
That's what that's my, I mean, I've been politically engaged for a very long time in my life. I'm not, it's less
Same.
priority now. I've been an activist for decades.
Yeah.
Less so I can't claim that anymore, but there was a day.
Yeah.
And if you if you have to read an opinion piece
Right.
before you can understand, is this
Just.
genocide or not?
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Well, that's all you need to know, that you're disconnected from your body. But that's the whole point. Like that's why they hammer on this disconnection so much, because the body was designed to feel and sense truth.
And to feel our connectivity.
Right.
Yeah, hold on, I don't know a damn thing about Palestine. I can't even find Palestine on a map. Can't spell it. Don't know
Yeah.
shit about this. But that's not right. And I know that because I'm a human being.
Right.
That's that simple. It is that simple. The water should not cost this.
Yep.
That's it. That's wrong. That's in
Yep.
my body because we're the same species. Well, we're going to talk about him later in summer school, and when we talk about media, is Michael Parenti. He's a great
Mm,
media
that name sounds.
guy. He died a couple of months ago. Um, Genius, changed my life, changed the way I saw the world. He's what Noam Chomsky pretends to be. Um, Noam Chomsky has contributed some things, but if you ask me, it's a fraud. Uh, but I think the public opinion is agreed upon that by now. But anyway, he says that these people, they don't care about your health or your wellness. They do care about what you think. They have to know. Man, what are they thinking? What are they thinking? See you later, Paige. What are they thinking? I hope they're not thinking this. What if? Oh my God, they're thinking this. Oh my God, they figured it out. That's why they spent billions of dollars to control what we think. Anyway, any more thoughts on the body? I could go forever, but I should stop. Anyone else want to say anything? Monday in summer school, we're going to talk about the body of work. I'm going to elaborate on this thesis, if you can believe that this was an intro. It's not really what I want to talk about. Yeah, and that class will be open to the public, which I'm really excited about. Some of the classes like spiritual warfare and the intro and the conclusion and that stuff is for the collective stuff that we've been building, but I really want to open this up. So we might see some new faces there. But yeah, anyone else want to say anything? Got a few more minutes.
I just wanted to touch on the fact that, the body is communicating with us all the time. And I think one of the ways that we know what's true for us, because it may not be what's true for someone else, is the intensity of sensation that comes up when someone says something or does something, and that lets us know that it's like not in a compatibility or that we want something else. So for example, I remember when I was younger, I wanted to take a course and someone was like, well, that's a dumb course, don't take that course. And in my body I got this like, I have to fucking take this course. And it was this really intense sensation that came up. And I've learned over the years that when that intense of a sensation comes up, it is because it is true for me and it is something that
It
I
needs to
am
be
being
followed.
guided towards. And the more I'm told to ignore it, the more sort of anger and frustration and comes up in me. And I do think the evil powers that be have asked us to be, they've confused us about our anger in order, like, oh well, we're good loving people so we don't get angry. And it's like, no. We need some of that anger to let us know
Yes.
how to move. And so I'm just encouraging people to really tune into those sensations in their body.
Speaking of sensations, Logan is one of my dear friends, has been in this community for a very long time, hasn't shown up to a class in months. Just yesterday, Logan doesn't know this. Just yesterday, Logan, I sent out, our little bat signal. This is an internal joke. Every time I need a poem or a friend thing, I send a meme, bat signal. I sent that to you through the astrals
You
yesterday.
did?
Yeah.
Oh man, I must have heard it.
Yeah, you
Because
must have, obviously, because you haven't been in here in like 9 months.
yeah, since like last November
Yeah.
or something.
I said,
Yeah.
I
I
need a
mean,
poem.
like I lurked, you know. And then today I was just like, oh wait, I think I could actually hop on. So
The body. That's
yeah.
perfect. You came out at the tail end, but we can hang out if you'd like to.
Oh, I mean, if people gotta go, you gotta go. But if you needed a poem, what were
Yeah,
you looking for?
doesn't matter. This
Doesn't
is
matter.
Logan's one of my favorite poets in the world, dead or alive.
What do I have? You
Doesn't
wanna
matter.
hear the all right. Then hold on, let's see. So I just got back from a trip to Ireland and Scotland. Um, yeah, which is why I asked you about Inverness.
I just told
Um,
the whole story that I actually didn't respond to Logan's text message, and we were just talking about Scotland for like this entire call.
so okay, this is perfect because
Yes, it is.
the
Rowan and I are freaking
reason
out.
the reason why I went out to Scotland was because my friend Christina asked me to write a poem for her wedding,
Of course.
for an elopement that they had out there.
Side note, how is
Um,
the north of Scotland? It's extraordinary, right?
it's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go to Inverness,
Okay.
but I did get to go to the Highlands. We went out to the Isle of Skye.
Well, that's better than
Um,
it's northern. As long the norther you get in Scotland, that's where the codes are. You went to the
yeah,
Isle of Skye? Oh, okay, keep
yeah.
going. Deliver us
It
your code.
was, hold on, I have to see if I actually
Okay.
have it here. Um, all right. It looks like I'm probably gonna have to recite it from my phone. So for some context, um, I did not really know very much about the Isle of Skye before I went. There is a geological structure out there called the Old Man of Storr. And the legend is that it is and I'm telling you all of this because I did not know this at the time or when I wrote this poem. Um, so this geological structure, the legend is that this giant's hand is reaching up out of the ground. Um, and then my friends also decided to add to their ceremony a hand fasting ritual, which I did not know. And then the weather changes
I'm sorry, a
out
what
there.
ritual? A what ritual?
Hand fasting.
Fasting?
Hand fasting. So basically, what happens is the bride and groom, or the people who are getting married, hold hands, and a rope is placed around their hands, and then they essentially grab either end of the rope, and then they pull it through. It's called tying the knot. That's where that comes from. So they decided to do that for their as part of their ceremony. And then also because it's an isle and it sort of like juts out, the weather is just crazy, temperamental out there. Um, and my friend Christina, the bride, was very concerned that it would start raining. And I told her that it wouldn't because I wrote about it. And so I need you to imagine that when I say in when the when I say this part of the poem, when I mention the sun, I need you to know that the sun literally came out and shined down upon all of us as soon as I said it. It was ridiculous. So here's the wedding poem. In a realm where the moss has learned it can rest on shards of black stone in high lands, the mountains will yawn and wake as sleeping giants, reaching upwards with basalt hands. They will speak of their dreams, and we will hear it as wind, and the sun will laugh at everything. The clouds will dance to an invisible song in an isle known as Skye. A portrait suspended midair presents itself before us. A vision of two holding hands in a frame gilded in golds that speak in a language revealed only through time. An entire landscape called soul can be felt in the heart of each palm, seen on the face and witnessed through the eyes of another. And this portrait will be called hand fasting, an ancient declaration known to this land, an invisible song built by two hands representing a surrender to the witnessing of another through the creation of something that cannot exist without the other. A profound construction of nature that allows us to become more fully ourselves because we are being witnessed. To come together in this way is to say to oneself, I see myself in you, and how I treat you is how I witness myself. To make this choice, to choose to see another and to be seen, is a surrender to life in a way that has the potential to turn every breathing mundane moment into a form of magic that can only be built together. Loving is a practice. It is a prayer to ourselves and the love that exists to witness how one sees themselves. And it shows us all the ways in which we are too afraid to love ourselves. To be a pillar in the archway of love is to support the other through presence. Time, patience, and stillness can support the soul until the fear of ourselves is loved into thresholds of more loving. To be betrothed means complete truth, a pledge of truth to another. And the truth is, we are all complete in love. And this it was that the mountains, sun, clouds, sky did pledge, as two fasted hands now do. I pledge to always be my loving self with you.
Ah!
Right, you're gonna have to give us a minute because we're going through something pretty big. You don't know what we're going through, but I'll tell you. Okay, so you just wrote that poem was about everything that we just discussed in this whole 2-hour class.
Incredible.
So the letter to phrases, fasting. We talked about fasting for an hour. We talked about love. We talked about relating to one another. We talked about creation and we need each other. We talked about witness very earnestly.
Hmm.
So that's why we're freaking out. In addition, now you guys see why Logan is one of my favorite poets. It's like, what just happened to me? Where the fuck did I go? And thank you also.
You're welcome. Thank you for receiving my poetry.
And you weren't the one getting married.
No,
No,
this was for my friend.
Logan's available for weddings
Yes, I actually want to do more weddings.
or
It was
breakups.
phenomenal. Yes, I do that too.
I'm available for weddings and breakups.
Hmm.
Okay, discuss. Rowan. We were talking about Scotland, witnessing, fasting, love with
We were talking
earnest.
about loving as a practice, that like
Hmm.
getting into a practice, getting into an embodiment, getting into a way of being in which you express yourself, regardless of if there's pain, if there's and so I just want to acknowledge you because that was
Yeah,
literally that was the absolute key of
that's
medicine.
yeah. We just talked about it, and then we also talked about how we can feel each other through time and space.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
you're like, "Hey, I'm here. 3 minutes left." Actually, the call was scheduled to end 30 minutes ago, but you came on anyway.
Yeah,
Anyone else? That was a miracle, if anyone's unclear.
that happens to
Ab
me all the time.
Absolute divine timing.
It's a miracle. Let's drop these kids in here. Look at these kids. You with little faith. Here, look.
This,
What
this
did you
wedding
say?
poem.
It was
Hmm.
that line of the what line got you guys? Like standing as a pillar,
To be
witness.
a pillar, to be a pillar in the archway of love is to support the other through presence. I know it really hit me hard too when I heard it. I have no idea where it came from, but it's like it's so true. To be a pillar in the archway of love is
I'm
to
part of
support the other through
I'm
presence. And it's
love.
also a
I'm love.
threshold. It's
Yes,
also a
that's the
threshold.
threshold. Yes, that my
Hmm.
presence in love is part of the fabric. It's a technology.
Hmm.
That's a
The
support.
threshold cannot exist without the two of you standing in presence with each other.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's, you see what I'm saying? I want my wisdom from the codes and from the divine timing. I don't want to get you, spare me your limerence quotable from the internet. Leave me alone. I'm a portal. I'm a part of the pillar of this person's threshold, is what
Hmm.
I am. And only a poet could have told me that in a way that hurt my soul.